Hello, everybody. Scott Golden here with the Golden Opportunities Coaching and Pro Wrestling Logic YouTube channels. This is the 7th of December, 1991 WCW Saturday Night Edition. Loving doing these WCW shows, by the way. I actually never sat through much of I've sat through 85, 86, 87 NWA, but it's been years ago, so that'll be fun to get back to. Never done 89 through 91 WCW ever, so this has been a fun journey for me. Anyway, and the wrestling was much better than what would come later. The Steiner brothers opened us up on December 7th, 1991. They are in a position where they've been the tag team champions for a bit. They are not as influential as they used to be, I suppose. Featured opening highlights from the tag team champions Ricky Steamboat and Dustin Rhodes versus Anderson and Eaton, which takes place on Thanksgiving night at the Omni. Also includes highlights from Sting versus Rick Rude, Thanksgiving night at the Omni. Also features WCW Magazine's segment hosted by Eric Bischoff, which he discussed the recent formation of the Dangerous Alliance, showing Rude's debut at the Halloween Havoc show. He also winning the U.S. title from Sting at the Clash of Champions. Announced the Dangerous Alliance member, and then they do the weekly top 10 deal. Rick Steiner defeats Greg Sawyer in 2 minutes following a belly-to-belly suplex off the top rope. Prior to the match, Rick is escorted to ringside during Scott Steiner during the bout. It's noted that Scott Steiner recently came from the Bruise Cruise, and then ultimately, I mean, it's a 2-minute match here. Steiner getting ready for challenges with Lex Luger, so they're kind of trying to get something together there. Luger having been thrust into the championship picture. Really, I mean, when you're looking at it, the middle of July, so August, September, October, November, December, 4 months before, 4.5 months before, so I don't think they necessarily had someone fully ready for him. Steiner, of course, hitting a couple of suplexes in the belly-to-belly from the top, looking like $1 million. Then we go to Terence Taylor defeating Scott Allen with a firearm. 3:47 during the bout. It's noted that the six-man Thunder Cage match will air the following night on the main event. It's also noted that Taylor wanted to leave the York Foundation and was recently seen with members of the Dangerous Alliance during the. And, I mean, ultimately, he never goes with the Dangerous Alliance. I don't know if that was a plan or just a red herring in the commentary here. Obviously, Taylor is a guy that they could have done a lot more with had he been properly, and I don't even want to say managed, but just handled in a way that made people want to see him do more. And also, I mean, the deal that they did, the highlights of the Omni matches are also there. Sting having difficulties with Rick Rude is also not super notable, but it's here. Sting doing the flapjack spot with Rude up into the corner. Simple and simplistic things here. Not exactly Rude still, though. 1981, Rick Rude bumping all over the place, even doing a flare flop along the way. WCW Magazine highlight package with Eric Bischoff. I love Bischoff in the Ken Doll announcer role, just interesting and fun. Highlights also of the Dangerous Alliance announcement, as mentioned before. And I mean, some highlights also of like a Steve Austin and various other things. Dangerously still being treated like a major deal here. Larry Zbyszko coming out and kind of getting in the face of an enhancement talent in many shows. But as mentioned, the Terry Taylor thing, 4 minutes. I don't know that they necessarily had a singles plan for Taylor at the time. Maybe they did, maybe they didn't. I don't really know. But the York Foundation thing had gone pretty well run its course by December. For some reason, I remembered the York Foundation being an early 1992 thing. So finding out it's 1991 means my first exposure to WCW as a weekly television program might have been earlier than I thought, because I do remember some of this stuff. Anyhow, We go to um, the six-man tag as it relates to um, highlights there. And again, we kind of go to the light heavyweight champion Brian Pillman, PN News, and U.S. Tag Team Champions Todd Champion and Firebreaker Chip, defeating Tracy Smothers, Steve Armstrong, Thomas Rich, and Richard Morton with Alexander York. 11:45 win. The momentum of crossbody from the top rope from Armstrong put Chip on top of for the win during the match. It's also known as Smothers and Armstrong would challenge champion and Chip for the following night on the main event for the U.S. Tag Team Championships, which at this point, the U.S. Tag Team Championships, I don't want to say are completely useless, but they're not what they were. They certainly are not a major deal there. To really be kind of looking at things from that perspective, and ultimately, kind of getting things around there. So Taylor managing to, or I'm sorry, um, Tracy Smothers kind of managing to go into a brawl. Smothers showing great fire with Brian Pillman. Actually, Smothers and Pillman could have been a really cool one-on-one program had they chosen to go that way. They didn't, obviously, but had they, would have been fun, would have been interesting, could have been cool. Anyway, and in this match, probably, I hate multi-person tag matches, as anyone who listens to this channel knows, because they don't serve a storyline purpose. They are there to fill time. They are there to basically show that the booking is poor and get people on TV without really giving them direction. That being said, this particular match is good in execution, but doesn't really do anything for story. And I'm much more a story person than a let's let everyone play person. So the heels are taken to the outside pretty quickly, and Pillman basically the most over babyface of the bunch, although not regarded as such. Lots of back and forth. Firebreaker Chip with the Patriots. I don't know why they get the Patriots name. Does cut off the ring on one of the Young Pistols, managing to go there. And again, the Pistols are cut off. Yo baby, yo, and the baby faces do get a victory on the follow through. It's like I said, simplistic stuff. Pillman also manages to get a couple of drop kicks. Match is worth watching if you like high energy, chaotic matches just for the sake of matches. Highlights from Japan of several weeks. The same matches they had shown of Benoit and Liger are used as highlights, so don't really need to cover them. But I do like the fact that they put the highlights in there week by week to get people, and I believe this is from New Japan, looks like a New Japan ring. Just like the fact they were doing this to get people hyped for Liger because he was so different than anything that the average person saw. Dallas Page and the Diamond Exchange with Scott Hall is up next. Dallas Page is and the Diamond Stud defeating Chris Sullivan and Brian Lee. 604 Page pinned Sullivan after Stud dropped Sullivan with the Diamond Death Drop, otherwise known as the Razor's Edge. Prior to the bout, Page and Stud were escorted to the ring by the Diamond Doll, and certainly, this is vintage. I wonder what would have happened had Dallas Page been pushed in '92 rather than '96. I wonder if it would have made a difference earlier, or if he still needed more seasoning. I still think he could have gone earlier. Not that I was a Dallas Page fan near the end of his career, but his 96, 97, and some of 98 run were quite enjoyable. The Diamond Stud thing still could have worked. It's a lesser version of the Razor Ramon character, so easily could have worked. Stud managing a choke slam and getting things going in a direction there, and ultimately managed to get things going in a positive direction. Diamond Stud, though, managing to hit a basic, drop there, and ultimately getting what he can out of it. And Diamond Stud flipping his man inside out and managing to do everything he possibly can to get things going his way, hits the diamond death drop, and gets a victory for his tandem, which is cool at the time. Then we go to a Big Josh match. Big Josh, otherwise known as Matt Bourne. Big Josh managing to hit a huge belly-to-belly suplex during the middle of this match, which is actually pretty cool to look at. Jim Klotz is beaten with the Northern Exposure running body splash, and this match only runs a minute and 35 seconds, so you're not going to see a lot of stuff here. And of course, Big Josh doing the lumberjack gimmick, which I guess hits with the Southern WCW style stuff, but doesn't really hit long term. Dustin Rhodes pinned Bobby Eaton with Medusa 1240 inside cradle. Eaton is escorted to ringside before the match by Paulie Dangerously, but Medusa took his place at ringside during the match. They're really trying to put Medusa over at this point. Arn Anderson and Larry Zbyszko attacked Rhodes, with Anderson hitting the spine buster. Moments later, WCW Light Heavyweight Champion Brian Pillman and Mike Graham run out, kind of setting up future six-man tags. There, Rhodes was not recognized as the champion's title win had not taken place yet when this was taped, so that is there. Regardless, the Dustin Rhodes match, as it were, as would be expected. Dustin is a guy that you look back at, and he was good even before he knew how to be good. Certainly a guy who, with, 34 years experience, something like that, just a long time to be in the business and all over the country and all over the world, but certainly this is a much shorter match than, or much longer match than Dustin's used to at the time. Bobby Eaton grounding him into the mat with a hammerlock and other basic maneuvers, pretty cool. Steamboat coming in and getting involved in the tag match there. This is highlights from the Omni before the one-on-one match. And again, Rhodes and Steamboat against Eaton, and Eaton and Anderson is always a good time. Worth going out of your way to watch the highlights of this match. I hate matches joined in progress just because it feels inconclusive. What did I miss? Sort of thing. So I would never put a match joined in progress on television unless you put this is here for just this clip. In other words, telling people, hey, you can see the full match somewhere else, but this is here just for the clip of ABCD. Regardless, it's here and it's worthwhile and it's good. Anyhow, Paulie Dangerously out with Dustin Rhodes and, out with Bobby Eaton against Dustin Rhodes, and so Rhodes basically stays on the arm pretty persistently throughout the match, working things through, getting a bunch of holds. Eaton gets a basic stuff, nothing too overly complicated, but at the same time sending Rhodes to the outside, getting an advantage. Medusa out there as a representative of the Dangerous Alliance, doing her job very well, and that will close us out. Obviously, the attack of the Dangerous Alliance furthers the storyline as we go into the mid part of November and getting ready, December rather, and getting ready for Starrcade. We'll be back with more right after this.